Good morning. We're going to start off today's lesson with retrieval practice as always. So if you could pause this screencast and answer the 10 questions on this slide, please. When you've done them, unpause and we will go through the answers. Okay, here are the answers. So for number 1, which part of the cell controls what enters and exits the cell? That is the cell membranes, that is B. Aerobic respiration happens in which part of the cell? That is the mitochondria. Number 3, you should have filled the gaps in with oxygen and the second gap with carbon dioxide. Number 4, water and minerals travel around the plant through which structure? That is the xylem, that is spelled X-Y-L-E-M. Number 5, which type of blood vessel has thick muscular walls and carries blood away from the heart? That answer is C, which is the arteries. Okay, question number 6 you needed to complete. So the first one should have been stimulus, receptor, coordinator, effector, and then response. Number 7, the type of neuron that sends electrical impulses from the receptor to the coordinator is the sensory neuron. Number 8, the neuron that is found in the spinal cord is called the relay neuron. And number 9, describe what reflexes are and why they are important. Reflexes are automatic responses that keep us safe. And number 10, what is the coordinator in a voluntary action? That is the brain. So see how you did with those. Any that you got wrong, make sure that you spend some time going over them, revising them, questioning yourself so that they do stay in your brain. Okay. So today's lesson, the learning objective is to know what a hormone is and be able to name examples. So this is an overview of what we call the endocrine system, and we're just going to be talking about the organs that and glands that release hormones, and we're going to also be naming those hormones. I'm going to finish by comparing the endocrine system to the nervous system. Okay, so what is a hormone? You might want to jot this down in your books. A hormone is a chemical messenger which is used in the body by the endocrine system. So it's a chemical, okay? Hormones are also made of protein and they travel from one part of the body to another where they are needed via the blood. Okay, so they go to target cells in target organs via the bloodstream. So you may have a hormone that is released in the brain. Okay, look where my cursor is now. That has to travel all the way to, for example, the reproductive system. Okay, so please make sure you know that hormone is a chemical messenger. So in summary, hormones travel all over the body in the bloodstream, however, only target organs respond. So for example, when insulin is made by the pancreas, it's not every single organ in the body that will respond to that. The target organ of insulin is the liver, which you'll find out about next lesson. Okay, moving on then. So this is a diagram showing different organs and glands that release hormones in the human body. Now you may notice that this diagram has got the female and the male reproductive organs on there, or reproductive glands that release hormones. This is just so that we do not have to look at two different diagrams, because both males and females have a hypothalamus, a pituitary gland, thyroid, pancreas, adrenal glands, but obviously girls have ovaries and boys have testes. But for this lesson, they are both found on the same diagram. We are now going to talk about each organ or gland and describe which hormone is released there. So please jot these down as we go through. So the first part that we're going to talk about, the pituitary gland and the hypothalamus. So the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland both release hormones that actually regulate the production of other hormones. So what that means is they release hormones that control the production of other hormones around the body. Okay, so they are like a control center for the hormones within the body, and we'll talk about that in another lesson. Okay, next one is the thyroid gland. So the thyroid gland produces thyroxine. At this moment in time, you just need to know that it regulates the metabolic rate of the body. which means thyroxine regulates how quickly your body can release energy from the food that you take in. But again, remember, this is just an overview. We'll talk more about this in a future lesson. The next one is the adrenal glands. Now, you could probably guess from the name, adrenal, that this is where adrenaline is released from. Now, adrenaline is released in response to danger and acts really, really quickly. Now, hormones often act slower than, for example, nerve impulses, which are immediate, but adrenaline actually acts really, really quickly because it helps you in that fight or flight mode. So adrenaline will be released before a football match, before an exam, when you're feeling nervous. It's when your body is preparing itself for action. Now, again, remember, this is just an overview, but one impact that it does have is that it increases your heart rate, which means that more blood can get to your cells at a faster rate. And it also means that more oxygen and glucose are being pumped to those cells, so respiration can happen faster. But again, we'll talk more about that in a future lesson. Okay, the next one, which is really important in the next lesson that we're going to do, is the pancreas. So the pancreas releases two really key hormones called insulin and glucagon. Now, please look at the spellings of insulin and glucagon really carefully, because next lesson when we talk about glucagon, you'll see that it's very similar to another word that you have to know. So make sure you write that down really accurately. And what insulin and glucagon do is they regulate your blood glucose levels. So they make sure that your blood glucose level is where it should be. It's not too high, it's not too low, which can actually be really dangerous for our body. Okay, moving on. So the ovaries, which are found in females, there are two ovaries situated in the female reproductive system, and they produce a hormone called estrogen. Now, estrogen is responsible for changes that occur during puberty in girls, and estrogen is a key hormone involved in the menstrual cycle, so when a girl has her monthly period. Okay, again, we'll talk about that in a future lesson. The next one is testosterone, which is released by the testes in the males, and again is responsible for changes that occur during puberty. Okay, let's see how we're getting on then. So can you please complete this true or false activity? And if you do think any of them are false, can you please correct them? Okay, so write down what you think would be the correct answer. Okay, pause the video now. Thank you. Okay, question number one. Hormones are impulses. That is false. Hormones are not impulses. Hormones are chemical messengers. They are made of protein and they travel around in the bloodstream, which takes us on to question number two. Hormones travel in the bloodstream. That is true. And if we're being really specific, a little bit of revision from B1, hormones actually travel in the blood plasma, but bloodstream is perfectly fine for this answer. Number three, the adrenal gland is responsible for releasing insulin. That is false. The adrenal gland releases adrenaline and the pancreas releases insulin. Number four, all organs respond to hormones. That is incorrect as well. That is false. Only the organs that are targeted by the hormones will respond. Number five, the ovaries release estrogen in females. That is true. Okay, remember, if you get any of those incorrect, make sure that you make a note of them and work on them again. Okay, moving on. So last bit for today's lesson. You have in the past done work on the nervous system. So this is just a table where you compare the activity, the speed of communication, the area targeted of nerves versus hormones. So if you could write this table, copy this table down and have put the words at the top to help you. So if you can have a go at filling in, do you think the speed of communication for nerves is very fast or do you think it's slower? Okay, use the words at the top, give yourself about 5 minutes and then unpause the screencast and we will go through the answers. Okay, let's see how you got on. So, speed of communication for nerves or for nervous impulses is very fast, and for hormones is slower. Remember, mark these with a green pen if you've got one, if not just with the pen that you've got or a different colour. The second one, method of transport or transmission. So the nerves, the nervous impulse travels along the axon of a neuron, and for hormones, it is the bloodstream. The next one, the duration of response. So for hormones, the duration is longer lasting. For nerves, it is short lasting. And the last one, area targeted. Nervous impulses have a very precise area, whereas hormones will go over a larger area, but please remember that there's only still certain organs that will respond. Okay, that's the end of this screencast. Remember to refer to your knowledge organiser to make sure that you can find extra information and extra content, and make sure you are learning the details from this screencast and using your knowledge organiser to support you. Okay, you can go back over this, so if there's anything that you're unsure of, try and go back, have a listen, and if you've got any questions, please email me g.jones2@smirchers.com and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Okay, thank you, have a great day, take care.